way. All right, so on Saturday, Colorado beats Nebraska. We haven't talked about that really at all. I wonder why. You just refuse to talk about Nebraska, even though we know the head coach and you're a fan of the program. We just dodge talking about them.
No. I love talking about them. We got a helmet behind me that he sent to us. I will always love them. I'm just so numb to it, but I still love the Huskers.
Yeah, but after the game, I think that there was some controversy when Shedeur Sanders made some comments about Matt Rhule and talked about the disrespect and how personal that game was. Deion chimed in as well. But Shedeur saying it was extremely personal. We go out there to warm up. You got the head coach from the other team trying to stand in the middle of the buff. It's okay if a couple players do it, but when you got the whole team trying to disrespect that, then I'm not going for that at all. I went in there and disrupted it. The Buffaloes mean a lot to me. That's when I knew it was extreme disrespect. And if you'll remember, he was also disrespected by Kendall Briles in the week 1. And I don't know what it's going to be this week, but Matt Rhule did respond. And that's why I bring it up, is because he talked yesterday and said that he always brings the team to midfield for a pregame prayer and that it wasn't intentionally being disrespectful to Colorado or to the Buffalo or to Shedeur Sanders or anybody. He said, we do it at every stadium. I asked Shedeur if he wanted to pray with us. We just take a moment as a team. I want that field to be safe for everybody. But they were also, obviously, the Sanders family talking about comments that Rhule had made previously about Deion that they felt was a slight. And, I just wanted to pass along that Rhule did address that and said that, there wasn't anything intentional. It was a pregame prayer. And I don't think he delved, too much further other than saying that he's never disrespected an opponent. So that's his side of the story. But I am curious of, if every week Colorado wins, it's like that Tal guy knew a guy that disrespected my cousin. And it's like, and now you're pissed about that. But, I mean, whatever works because they're 2-0. And, hey, man, they've got an edge about them, no doubt. But it's just kind of funny that
eventually that runs out.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no one believed the Chiefs were going to win the Super Bowl. And they used – it is getting to the point where I understand they've got a chip on their shoulder, and a lot of people did take some tremendous shots at what Deion was doing. But I remember what started with Rhule, and that it was something about him, how he's going to build his football team. He never brought up Colorado. He never brought up Deion. He just brought up how they're going to do it in Lincoln, which obviously has not kicked in like it has in Boulder. But this thing now with, everybody is up again. You're good. You're a great story. I think this just brings it down a little bit that, somebody disrespected. You could always find someone who disrespects you.
Yeah, I thought when he said that, I was like, what did Rhule? I mean, I know that they made comments
about a video or something, too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there was comments at one point about the roster.
There was a press conference about the roster and how they're going to build the roster and how he was going to do it, unlike anywhere. And then there was a few columnists that took it and ran. Michael Wilbon took it and ran. They have 10,000 people that question how they were doing it.
So here's what I wonder about. I look back to the Kendall thing that they said, that when he disrespected Shedeur, I wonder, did he disrespect Shedeur or did he treat him like everybody else at the camp? And that is disrespect because he was at a camp at Florida State where his father is one of the only 2 numbers that they've retired, and the other one is Ron Simmons, Farouk. But 2 numbers that he's retired, and that was why he was disrespected. Because, look, I know a great many things about, Kendall Briles because we know him, and I will tell you he's anything but stupid, and to ignore Deion Sanders' kid at Deion Sanders' land is a dumb thing. I just wonder if he treated him like all the other recruits there. And then you manufacture because of all the different things. Or if it's legit, I just think that sometimes a perceived slight and a slight are 2 different things. But like you said, Craig, it's kind of the Bull Durham thing where, if you think that you're on a hot streak because of whatever reason you're on a hot streak, then you are. Right. So if they can continue to convince themselves that it's Colorado against planet Earth, then that's fine. But if they turn on the television and watch anybody talk about it, then they better not do that because right now it's not.
Yeah, Fox rolls in for their 3rd consecutive weekend out of 3 weekends to have their show in Boulder, at a Colorado game, I should say. Yeah, I mean. I get it. I get where they're coming from, but I just wanted to give Matt Rhule's side of that because it was obviously a big deal when Shedeur said what he said, and I was curious as to what Matt Rhule was going to say in response, so I think he handled it well. He also said that at the end of the game, because they were expecting like a big crowd reaction, that he was basically being told like, hey, just go ahead and run off. And he said, no, I'm not. He's like, I don't care if I get trampled. I'm going to go across the field and shake Coach Prime's hand. And so I don't care if I get beaten up by a mob, is I think the way that he phrased it. I'm going to go over there and shake Coach Sanders' hand. So there's Matt Rhule's side of it. And you know what? Colorado's the talk of the town, man. They are it right now. So I don't know what beef they've got with Colorado State. Well, that's just a natural rival, so I guess it's already built in, huh? But I don't know if there's somebody on that staff that was talking noise at some point in time.
Oh, God.
But if they were, then we will know about it, I am sure. And, I think, Paul, you bring up a good point that at this stage, there's definitely a lot of doubters. There's definitely people that question, different things. I mean, G.J. Kinney also rebuilt the roster in exactly the same type of extreme fashion, but they're not as high on the totem pole, obviously. So it's not that was even a unique Deion thing, but that is where it was kind of brought to light. So I see where they feel like they were kind of attacked, and especially now that you're winning, you're like, see, we told you so. And there is merit to that. But to say that, like the whole country's against you, that just wouldn't be true. And that's evidenced by the TV ratings. That's evidenced by the network coverage. And again, going to have more of the national shows there again this weekend. But as far as last weekend goes, some of the TV ratings, no surprise here, Texas and Alabama topped the whole weekend with the big nighttime broadcast on ESPN, pulling in 8.76 million viewers for that contest. And I think that it was actually more, I guess, when you consider streaming and all of those things that go into, the full equation. I know that's kind of it's kind of confusing right now how ratings are tabulated versus the way they were traditionally when you just had one way that people watch TV basically. And now with streaming, I think it's a little bit more complicated, but 8.8 million viewers was the top game for college football this weekend, and that was Texas and Alabama. But who do you think was number two?
I know it.
Yep. 8.73, 300,000 viewers behind. It was Nebraska and Colorado, the noon kickoff on Fox.
That's what the power of Nebraska football brings to the table.
Yeah, that's why. No, you know what, though? It is, but it's also the Deion effect, and that was the perfect combination, the perfect rivalry game, the perfect, first weekend, not for Nebraska, but for Colorado to have that win, to really propel them into that game, to be at home, to have that atmosphere, and then to have that opponent so timely. Yeah, 8.73, so that nearly edged Bama and Texas. And I know they're like different TV windows and whatnot, but still pretty impressive, man.
One of the things that was the difference, and I saw this from, I think, Sports Business Journal, right? It wasn't our end, but is that Pat McAfee does his own broadcast.
Right.
And there was like 800,000 people or whatever the number was watching him, and added to what was the typical TV rating, it put them over the top for the most numbers on that day. Either way, that's a very healthy, great numbers for both of those games.
Yeah, it's great for Bama, Texas. It's great for Colorado. Now if you're Brett Yormark, you're doing everything possible to try and ensure that Deion Sanders is the head coach of Colorado for as long as possible, because you talk about a Utah or you talk about a K-State or a TCU or whoever. I mean, you had Colorado with this sort of energy behind them. And, I mean, they're going to be right there at the top of attention in the new Big 12 come next year. But Nebraska, Colorado, just nearly as much as Bama, Texas, A&M, and Miami. Big drop-off to get to them, the number 3 most watched broadcast. But over 4 million watched Miami's upset of Texas A&M. How are we handling that at this point, Paul?
I mean, it's weird, but
you cannot have two favorite teams.
No, I mean, it's weird. Again, look, I still, I hope for good things, but
it's just one loss. And it's a good Miami team.
4 million's a good. 2 schools that floundered last year, trying to find a way, and they said it 1,000 times. It was a very entertaining game.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
One of the best. Look, the 2 of the best games of the football weekend in the NFL involved the teams from Miami, the Hurricanes and the Dolphins.
Against
were
the Chargers.
great. Yeah. I did. Look, and I said this, and I got to stick to it. It was better for fans of the 3 schools when we were all good. So if Miami's going to be good again, as much as I enjoyed that thorough beatdown, it will get boring if that's the thing every year.
Yeah.
So I am for Miami being good every game but one a year. That's fine with me.
Yeah, well, they were better than A&M on Saturday as they got that win, a little over $4 million. Iowa State pulled in almost $3.4 million. It was the fourth most watched broadcast, and then Michigan. They've just got that built-in number automatically where they're going to hit $1 million no matter what. But 2.97 million viewers for UNLV, Michigan. That was going on opposite of Iowa State. So they probably split some of those numbers there. But going down the line, Oregon, Texas Tech had 2.28 million viewers on Saturday night to see the Ducks' big win. And let's see, Baylor, Utah, 1.3 million. Kansas, Illinois on Friday night, 1.36 million. So just interesting to see who hit the million mark and above, and especially was curious about Nebraska, Colorado, and A&M, Alabama. Both of those almost identical, 8.76 to 8.73 million. So pretty healthy numbers for college football. And like pales in comparison to like the 20+ million the NFL draws for their bigger games and more featured games. And a final thing for you here, Ohio State.